my god, we're gonna see how this goes. Should be good. It should be good. Oh, it's bad boy out here. It's like a little slow, but it's not the best. Hi, Harsh. Hi. Hi, Zen. Nito. Move. I know, dude, right? I was like, you know what? Because the stream's been so messed up the last couple times, I was like, I'm gonna do it early. I'm gonna show up. You know, it's what I always say. If you're early, you're on time, and if you're on time, you're late. I just live by that code of conduct. So, stream will work today. I'm gonna preface right now, and we can blame Harsh. There might be some lag because he has to come back tomorrow and finish some stuff up, but it should work for the most part. Should work for the most part. There just might be like a little bit of lag, which if there is, blame Harsh. You know. Yeah, pretty much. And I'm not late every stream. Okay, here's the thing. I looked back. I'm on time every single stream. You guys are just early. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Is like, I'm on time. You guys just seem to be early. I'm gonna get right into it though, because we've got... I'm not talking about anything. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what I'm saying. Worry about what I'm about to preach. And what I'm about to preach is the gospel right here. From our Lord and Savior, Cuttlefish. Don't worry, David, I will... Honestly, here's the thing. And you can clip this. I make a promise today. I'm gonna be on my best behavior. You wanna know why? Because we're gonna get through a lot of chapters and I'm gonna read and it's gonna be... I'm gonna be good today. So. Starting off, we're gonna start off with the chapters. David, have a little faith in your client. We're gonna chapters. Okay, I'm gonna try and get through as many chapters as I can because we didn't have that much time. I'm probably gonna do a longer stream today. Like, if the internet does start to get like really buggy, I'll just have to end the stream. And when the guy comes tomorrow, he'll like fix the whole thing. However, I'm probably gonna do a longer stream. Like, this will be like 2.5, 3 hours. It'll be between 2.5, 3 hours probably. So buckle up, cause I'm gonna be yapping your ear off for the next 3 hours. Hopefully, if it starts to bug out, I'll just have to end it, but we'll see. So without further ado, let's get into it. And you know what? I have 3 hours. If we don't get through 10 chapters today in 3 hours, disrespectful. Like, actually, I think I need to stop because that's super disrespectful. So let's get into it. Chapter 649, Black Cloister. The dream shared by everyone. Klein retreat. Sorry, you're not getting any sleep. Klein repeated Catlia's words inwardly as he slowly released the situation he was in. Nightmare in these dungeon waters would connect the dreams of all living creatures. And any creature that didn't sleep well. I won't make more than 5 clips. I think I'll be good. Honestly, we're gonna get through like a good chunk of chapters. Because we're almost done. We have less than 100 chapters to go. I'm gonna finish this volume by the new year. I've made that a point and apparent. So we're good. Let's continue. And any creature that didn't sleep would lack the necessary protection as their soul bodies were in the dream. As such, they would suffer an unknown attack. As for why such an attack would leave one's disappearance and not instant death, Klein, who had actually experienced it, had no grounds for speculation. As his thoughts raced, Klein retracted his gaze from Catlia's body, recasting them onto the magnificent city in the opposite cliff. He thought out of curiosity, if this world can really be formed from the connection of dreams from all of the local creatures, who could have imagined such an unimaginable city? He observed for a few seconds before asking, what is its name? What's the name of the city that can only exist in myths and legends? Catlia stared ahead in a daze as she spoke as though she was in a reverie. No idea. That will be the chance of seeing it every time we enter the dream, but it's impossible to be approached. She said it resembles the great Twilight Hall of Faesak. She likely has her own guesses, but she has never told me. She, the Queen Mystic, the great Twilight Hall is where the Church of God of Combat's papal chair is. Klein surveyed the area deliberately before saying, I plan to look around. He believes that the future wouldn't leave these waters anytime soon. He would definitely encounter more nights and enter his dream world several times. He can enter me several times. I couldn't even say it without laughing. Therefore, to defend against any accidents and to obtain intel, it was necessary to him to explore that area. And the explanation no doubt needed a partner. Catlia remained sitting there, hugging her knees. Her tone remained ethereal as she said, not interested. This isn't what a mature pirate admiral should say. You could have been more euphemistic. Ma'am Hermit, you resemble a young perpetual lady. Klein was taken aback as he suspected it, as he if he had heard that this was in conflict with Admiral Stars he had in his mind. Thinking about Garamond Sparrow also had his side of not being afraid of dirt and hardship. He came to the realization he quickly made a guess. Catlia isn't completely awake in her dreams. She is able to know that she's in a dream, and she's unable to effectively control it. I ain't King Shaman. That is to say that she would unknowingly depict the feelings buried deep in her heart and reveal some of her personality, which she usually suppresses. It's no wonder she said that she was never able to approach that miraculous city. It's because she never had intentions of exploring it herself. Klein thought for a moment and deliberately probed. We might be able to discover something over here. Not going, Catlia didn't hesitate to reply, but she never shook her head. I'll be waiting. She really is a semi-unconscious state. Klein made the judgment based on her reaction and tone. I didn't waste any more time and turned to leap off the boulder. Klein's feet stepped on the ground and he subconsciously looked back. Catlia remained sitting there, hugging her knees. There wasn't anyone around, and the codulated sunset from the city opposite her shone over, producing a long shadow from her blending with one of the shadows produced by withered trees. The gentle mountain breeze blew as the black figure gently shook. Catlia didn't move as she stubbornly waited on the spot. At such time, there was a need for a psychiatrist to interpret the dream's emotions. This has nothing to do with the revelation obtained by divination. Klein curled his lips and surveyed the surroundings to seek a direction in which to explore. He discovered that regardless of the direction he took, he would end up in the black building formed from the cloisters. There was a towering wall that isolated it from the cliff. No matter how the exploration was made, one had to pass by the cloister unless one jumped down the cliff. Since there was no other choice, Klein went directly to pitch black door of the cloister. Guys, I've said cloister like 8 fucking times. You'd think it was the chapter of this, or the title of this chapter. The door was nearly 10 meters tall, and it didn't look like it was prepared for human use. Klein sized it up for a few seconds, took a deep breath, and extended his hand to push at the end of the door. A creaking sound followed. The door weighed far exceeded Klein's imagination. His muscles bulged as his face flushed red. Yet he was only able to move the door by a tiny bit without being able to push it open. Thankfully, it's only a dream. As long as there's reason to believe I can't raise my strength without truly activating creeping hunger. Klein exhaled and made his left glove be tainted with a paleness. I'm not, you know. Gerwin Sparrow is just such an interesting persona. That's all I have to say. Really grabs hold of you and puts you in the story. Also, I know it's the chapter title. It's fucking above my head. I was making a joke. Sometimes I'm actually really funny, guys. You just, neglect that fact. In the midst of the dark green sparkles, he obtained the strength of the zombie. His arm turned thicker than his legs as his legs swelled. A deep grinding sound boomed as the door slowly opened to reveal not his interior. No, its interior. The two dark spires of the black building were connected by covered bridges as they surrounded a vast grayish rock square. There were plenty of holes in the square. Embedded in them was huge arrows. There were flaming stacks of various spots as they had previously encountered an attack. Klein passed through the cave's entrance and squared. Unsurprisingly, he saw Frank Lee, Nina, Odalov, and company there. This was their dream. It didn't seem so. Look, I've said it once, I'll say it before. He kind of submissive and breedable. Or should it be said that everyone's dream is limited to themselves? They will be randomly placed somewhere in this world. Klein guessed without confidence. Frank Lee was closest to him. He was holding a shovel and digging at some rubble. Besides him were the white bread, toast, and roasted fish which had previously fallen to the floor. He plans on using them as fertilizer. He planted things even in his dreams. Klein went over and casually asked, "What are you doing?" Frank didn't stop, but he revealed a smile. "I'm cultivating some little things. They need to sleep in the soil for some time before they can grow big and provide life." What's their use? Klein asked, both worried and curious. Frank beamed and said, "They're a crossbreed of fungus. It can make bulls produce milk. This is why I obtain more milk, allowing more people to drink good milk." "Spare those bulls." Klein's face twitched as he asked, "Will it succeed?" "There's no problem with the effects, but I'm very worried that they can't reproduce," Frank said with a frown. "May death forever favor them." Klein prayed as he walked past Frank Lee and headed to the black buildings. I kind of fuck with Frank Lee. He's like a little mad scientist. Entrance across the square along the line. He passed by Nina and Navigator Odalov, who were drinking beside the collapsed pillar. "Have you ever thought of leaving the pirate crew after you're older to find a man and marry and settle down? I don't think anyone wishes to drift out at sea their entire lives." Odalov took off his pointed bonnet and revealed his slightly hoary hair. Yeah. His eyes and tone informed Klein that in between the lines he meant, "If you wish so, why not consider me? Mr. Navigator, you're old enough to be Nina's father. You need to consider your health." Passing by, Klein couldn't help but lampoon when he heard this conversation. Nina gulped a mouthful of beer and looked in a particular direction. "No, that's not the life I wish to lead. Before joining you, I once attempted to settle down at the east coast of Faceac and not to be a pirate again, but I was unable to bear with the boredom. I have a lug wood and move things every day, and I can only stay at home at night. I'm allowed to go to the bar or go hunting in the wilderness. Such a life seems constant and unchanging. Furthermore, I suffered all kinds of criticism. Tolerating those irritating people, I have to worry about the cops, even if I wish to beat them up. It's still better than the ship. Although it's boring most of the time, we can often go in different places and encounter different matters. Even the most boring times can wreck the fellows, training them into passable pirates. I can also tell them that one who performs the best every month can spend the night in a room. I'll watch them excitedly enjoy the torment, of course. Spending the night and having sex are different. It depends on my mood. A true female pirate. Everyone wishes for something different. Klein neutrally gave a comment and didn't believe that there was anything wrong with Nina's ideas. I won't... Absolutely, Klein. We love it. A progressive king, dare I say it. I won't disagree with her choices, but if she often kills, engages in arson and plunders, I don't mind using her head to exchange for a bounty the next time we meet. And, okay, here's the thing. Progressive, resourceful, entire package, to be totally honest. Klein attracted his gaze and arrived at the suspect entrance to the black building and spires. Subconsciously, he turned his head and realized that the shadows in the corner seemed normal, but there was something different about it. Bloodless Heath Doyle, he hides in the shadows even in a dream. According to my limited knowledge of psychology, this is a result of greatly lacking a sense of security. Klein pushed another door, which was similarly almost 10 meters tall. Amidst the grinding sound, his gaze suddenly froze. Behind the door was a vast hall, which had 2 rows of stone pillars supporting it. The hall was abnormally dark without any candlelight. As the man opening the door, the light from outside shone in, lighting the interior and making it clear. Klein saw that there were murals of various colors, with gold being the main color of choice on the dome. They were connected to one another without any gaps. It gave a magnificent and scared feeling. Thump, thump, thump. A figure had its back facing Klein, using an axe in the hand to chop any long or huge tree. Its motives were unknown. The figure was dressed in white shirt and black vest. It didn't look like any of the pirates on the ship. There's something else in these waters, or could it just be the mysterious part of eyes that had been observing the deck and me? Klein's heart sank as he slowed down. His warily approached and came to the figures inside, where he discentered the figure. It was a man who looked young. He had blonde, short hair that was split 70-30. His emerald green eyes looked focused and serious. "What are you doing here? What is this place?" Klein carefully asked. He intuitively believed that the person wasn't the owner of the mysterious eyes. The young man raised his hand and touched his earlobes without turning his head. "Why are you asking me these questions? My ship had sunk, and I'm busy making a canoe for myself. I don't have time to speak to you." Klein thought before asking, "Who are you?" "Who am I? I'm the unlucky Anderson. Ever since I saw the mural, I've been plunged with bad luck." The young man pointed in a direction. Tracing his finger, Klein saw a mural. The mural depicted the sea of fire that split in the middle of the to produce a path. On the path there were long lines of people. The members either had their heads low with pious devotion or prostrated on the ground. Their destination was in the depths of the sea. Their leader was a lucky man with long silver hair. His facial features were mild and his eyes were tightly closed. On his back were layered wings. Klein's pupils contracted suddenly. He recognized the leader in the mural. It was the angel of fate which Little Sun has once depicted. It was the tail devourer Ouroboros. I sense that we like Anderson. That's the vibe I'm getting. The Unlucky Anderson. Oh my god, he also gets his own chapter title? I'm sorry, did someone just say he's better than Donitz? No, absolutely not. Here's the thing, I realized something. The reason why Volume 3, I think, was as good as it was in the beginning, and I think the reason why Garamond Sparrow is as good as he is because we saw him through Donitz's eyes, and we saw that dynamic first. That set the pace for the rest of the volume, and then also the rest of the interactions we have with Garamond Sparrow. And dare I say it, Donitz is the reason why this volume is good. And he is the reason why Garamond Sparrow is also as good as he is. Not taking away from himself, but like, it just gave it a little more, you know? You know what? Take it. Yeah, I like that. They'll just, all of them. conjoined together. Chapter 650, The Unlucky Anderson. Thank you, David. Okay, see, I have good takes. If you guys actually just shut your mouths for like a second and listen to what I have to say, I actually have really good takes, and I also just, I spit my shit. And like 19% of the time it's right. Which is basically 100. If you round up, Absolutely. We'll be looking at the art. The Unlucky Anderson, chapter 650. After recognizing the leader in the mural, Klein subconsciously suspected that it was something from his dreams. However, he quickly rejected the idea. This was because the Unlucky Anderson wasn't someone he knew. He was also not someone that had left an impression on him. There was a low chance of him being an extension of his own dream, and Anderson had clearly said that he became unlucky after seeing that mural. It was strongly tied to the mural, so it could only be the case that the mural was part of Anderson's dream. As he focused and looked carefully, Klein quickly realized that the mural was somewhat different from the mural that Little Sun saw in the True Creator's abandoned temple. The background here was a sea burning with golden flames, while the previous one was that of the desolate plain. The destination here was the depths of the sea, while the previous ones were had in the destination of the distant mountain. On the mountaintop was a huge cross with a figure hanging upside down. The bottom of the angel, the fate of Ouroboros. Feet were black slush, and the head pointing down, fishes stuck inside previously. It was a meandering river. It's a different mural, but more of a memory from different stages of the same pilgrimage. Klein nodded with a guess. Similar scenes surfaced in his mind a very long time ago in a particular period of the Fourth Epoch. Ouroboros let a devout group of pilgrims, or the remnant believers of the True Creator, with many powerful enemies in pursuit. They rowed a boat through the seas. Due to certain resources, he abandoned the boat with the help of the True Creator or his own power. He parted the sea and led the devotees through it and into the forsaken land of God. Okay, I kind of was reading it, but I wasn't really reading it. Okay. Very long time ago, in a particular period of the Fourth Epoch, Ouroboros led a devout group of pilgrims, or the remnant believers of the True Creators, with many powerful enemies in pursuit. They rowed a boat through the seas. Due to the certain reasons, he abandoned the boat with the help of the True Creator or his own power. He parted the sea and led the you know how Moses split the sea? They have a lot of references to religion in here. Sea led the devotees through it and into the forsaken land of God, leaving behind the kindling for organizations such as the Rose Redemption or Orda. In the land of the forsaken God, they tore through desolate plains and on a pilgrimage, but they built temples along the way, and one of them was discovered by Little Sun and company. With how Willow Septon was forced to restart the cycle and be reborn again as a baby, the Tail Devourer is likely still alive. Does this mean that he eventually arrived at the destination with the... Hi! Does this mean that the holy residence of the True Creator is somewhere in the land of forsaken God? We've been knowing that. We knew that. With this in mind, Klein suddenly felt a baffling sense of wistfulness. If my theory is correct, then that means that no matter how the City of Silver tries to save itself, or how they continue passing the flame once the True Creator completely awakens, or is restored to its original state, they would unavoidably head towards destruction. Interesting. Okay. When you are very close to the divine kingdom or holy residence of an evil god, your survival has nothing to do with your struggles. This is like the bubbles produced when sea waves surge to the shore. Once the waves recede, they would vanish. Human civilization and ethical groups are just a week under the gaze of an evil god. No, I can't be that pessimistic. I was only making a guess. Perhaps that one that forced Willow Septon to reincarnate isn't Ouroboros. Perhaps the True Creator wouldn't recover or awaken that easily. He might be sealed by the 7 deities. Okay. Are all my theories being proved correct right now? Therefore, the City of Silver still has a chance. A path between the Forsaken Land of God and the external world needs to be forged before the evil god escapes from his shackles, allowing them to be moved out. This is probably why the chief of the City of Silver released Elder Shepherd. They need to use all the power they can to get Klein forcibly retract his thoughts. He suddenly felt somewhat worried, afraid that his arrival was enough for him to be struck with an endless cycle of fate created by the Tail Devourer. At this point, he instinctively wished to take 4 steps counterclockwise and go above the gray fog. Okay. He might be wrong, but he could be right. And you know what? I'm going to say that he's right until I'm proven wrong, because if he's right, that means I'm right. From his interpretation of the symbols, there was no repeating rivers. There was only a black slush with fish embedded inside. It didn't mean the existence of the circle of fate, only the lingering of bad luck. This was identical to what Anderson said. As the King of Angels, Aurora Boreas definitely has more than a circle of fate. Different temples have different murals, and by using them using different powers is completely logical. Besides, this is a dream. Harsh, I think you got the quote twisted. It's, I'm always right, even when I'm wrong, I'm right. This is identical to what Anderson had said. Besides, even if I don't do anything and really am stuck in a repeated cycle, making me repeatedly converse with the Admiral Stars to the point of making my observations, the problem will be resolved once Monday comes. The Tarot Club will definitely not be held. Miss Justice and the others will definitely feel puzzled as they make their prayer, and I'll use it to regain my memories. Klein instantly felt confident at the chaos and tension in his heart was buried instead of disappearing. He looked up ahead and discovered that the hall went further in. There was no end to it, and there was a light shining inside. However, it was restricted to the entrance. The other areas were dark and only became darker the deeper it was. All that could be seen was the wooden doors on both sides. The destinations were unknown. Upon seeing this dark and creepy scene, Klein's desire to continue exploring was minimized. To encounter the mural left behind by the King of Angels here, who knows what will happen if I delve deeper in or enter some room. The fear of the unknown was extremely ancient. Feeling a premonition of danger with unknown origins had brought about some terror towards the unknown. Klein observed himself for a few seconds before he stopped proceeding forward. He turned towards Anderson, who was chopping the gigantic tree. "Why are you here?" Anderson looked up and scoffed. "I'm a treasure hunter. So tell me, why would I be here?" "Treasure hunter?" Klein casually asked. "There's treasure here?" Anderson continued busying himself with the creation of the so-called canoe. His voice suddenly turned deep. "There are treasure everywhere in these waters, as long as you obtain it successfully and leave alive." "That's true, but the problem is that it's very dangerous if one isn't a demigod. But it's even more dangerous for a demigod to be here." Klein looked into the hall's depths and asked, "Do you know where this place is?" Anderson traced his gaze and said, "I don't know. At least a third of my companions formed a team and headed in to explore, but they never returned." "Are you referring to the real world or the dream world?" Klein asked with a clear line of thought. Bang. After the axe landed, Anderson laughed. "Of course it's the real world. The ones that proceeded to explore the dream are the other third of my companions. They simply didn't return." They similarly didn't return. Klein inhaled as he thought, "Where are the bodies in the real world?" "They have mutated into monsters. They killed off quite a number of my companions." Anderson raised his axe and cleaved down. Clang. Amidst the crisp sound, the axe broke into 2. At the crack was towards the back. The fragment immediately shot at him. Anderson's right chest and abdomen immediately bled like spewing fountain. "Bro, did he just die? Did he just kill himself?" He held his left hand to his wound and looked up at Klein, smiling bitterly, and said, "I told you I was plagued with bad luck ever since I saw that mural. Thankfully, this isn't considered too unlucky. At the end, at least, they didn't destroy my ordinarily handsome face." "You're such a..." Are such descriptive terms supposed to be used that way? Klein looked at Anderson, quickly pulled out the fragments from his body as he held the wound and consumed some medicine. He discovered that Anderson was unfazed, and skill involved in his actions meant that he had already gotten accustomed to it. Klein held a single hand in his pocket as he played with the coins in it. After some deliberation, he asked, "When are your companions beginning to explore? Were you part of the group that stayed behind and studied the mural?" Anderson was taken aback as he inserted his medicine bag into the belt and wiped his mouth. "No, I was part of the group that did the exploration." Oh my god, are we about to get another, is he about to, like, cough up a worm or something? Oh wait, no, worms are Ramon's. He's about to do something. As he spoke, he grinned and revealed a genial smile. Klein's pupil contracted as he bent his back silently and raised his left palm. At this moment, building sunlight illuminated everywhere with dazzling white. Then it diminished and vanished. I know, I said worm, but it's not worm, because it's like Amon's whole thing is the worm, but he about to do something. Klein naturally opened his eyes and discovered that the outside had been restored to the midday state. He took out his pocket, which was in his inner pocket, and opened it. Only half an hour had passed. The night is rather short. That unlucky Anderson looked very normal, but who knew that he was that terrifying? Rolling to his feet, Klein suddenly recalled something. Snake of Fate Willow Septon had yet to reply to him. As everyone's dream had been pulled into the world without the connection of the spirit world, he was unable to locate me. Or did he sense Aurora Boris's aura and didn't dare come close? Or could there be something problematic with these waters to begin with? As clearly there's probably something not right with the waters that you're in right now. Best way I could explain it. With the waters being, as his thoughts whirled, Klein decided to verify it. As for how it could be verified, the methods was simple. He could sleep again while it was still noon. However, he wasn't in a rush to do so. This was because he wasn't sure if there was any taboo about sleeping in the day. Wearing his cap, Klein came outside the captain's cabin and knocked on the door. After 3 knocks, he retracted his hand and patiently waited. Before long, Katlia opened. She no longer looked as lost as she was in her dream. She had worn heavy glasses once again. "Is sleeping in the day all right?" Klein asked directly. Katlia nodded. "Yes." After answering, she hesitated and asked, "It seems you were very proactive in that dream." Realizing how much danger lurked in the waters and thinking about how he would be forced to show some of his abilities, Klein decided to proactively lay the foundations of his future explanations. He looked at Katlia and smiled politely. "Yes, this is a gift bestowed upon me by my lord." "My lord?" Under Katlia's thick glasses, her eyes clearly shimmered. In a rare instant, she frowned slightly and eased without asking any more questions. Klein thought for a moment, then he added, "Be careful of Heath Doyle." Katlia clearly understood what he meant and directly answered, "Don't worry. He has a sealed artifact, which has negative effects on him, only being able to hear voices from nearby." "That's a smart use of negative effect." Klein didn't drone on it as he took off his hat and bowed before returning to his room. He lay down once again and used cognition to fall asleep. In the dream world, he woke up and saw the familiar pitch-black plains and black steeple. Phew, it isn't possible to connect. Klein heaved a sigh of relief and traveled into the steeple. In the usual place, he saw the sacred tarot cards and the new worlds. There's plenty of danger there, the most dangerous being the dream that happened when night falls. It isn't about the disappearance if you do not sleep, but there's one thing to remember. Do not explore that dream. Absolutely do not explore that dream. Since there's not enough space, I won't explain why, although it's just a joke. The reason is that the area contains some of the dreams left behind by Dee. That was so cool. That was such a cool chapter. Anderson's really cool. I'm excited to learn more about him. Giving me interesting vibes. I think that whole thing is giving me interesting vibes, but you know what? We'll see. I'm assuming he's probably gonna, like, when he goes into the dream again, because this one's meeting again, so I'm assuming he's probably gonna meet him again and do a whole thing. God. Cameron Sparrow just really has me on, like, about the last sentence, where it says, "Since there's not enough space, I won't explain why, although it's just a joke. The reason is the area contains some of the dreams left behind by a deity." So I'm assuming, okay, so here's my here's my thing is like, there's the whole, because I'm wondering about the whole thing where it's like the mural, like how Klein thought that they like split the water and like brought them to the City of Silver or something like that. But I also think that they were like from the City of Silver. I don't really know. Anyway, I'm assuming that Klein, no, not Klein. Not everybody is Klein, but I'm assuming that like the deity that was left behind is probably just like Aurora Boreas or something, because it has to do with dreams. It has to do, because here's the thing, you know, okay, big brain time. You know how I think that losing control is like actually just a form of control that the true creator uses when he does that. So I'm assuming that the Kings of Angels all it's not too crazy that the Kings of Angels all like low-key kind of like lose control, but they're in like a dream state of losing control because they don't like mutate into anything because they're too powerful and they're like Kings of Angels now. And maybe like that's like the sleep and like the negative effects that come out in the dream, if that makes sense. And I do say Aurora Boreas. I know it's Ouroboros, but I sometimes get them confused. I hope that made sense, but that's kind of like where my brain is starting to go. I don't know. All I know is that was a really good chapter. Gavin Sparrow, like always, keeping us on the edge of our seat, keeping us edging our seat. No, that one was a lot. We're just gonna continue reading. Meaning again, upon seeing Will Septon's warning, Klein's first found himself blessed with good luck. Thankfully, I didn't court death, and continue the exploration. He didn't hesitate to heave a sigh of relief, although he had seen the mural related to Ouroboros, as well as the terrifying monster Anderson who mutated. For some unknown reason, he didn't actually physically get himself into a dangerous situation. I wonder if I'll randomly appear in the region in the next dream, or will it continue from before? If it's a later, the best choice of action is to not disrupt Anderson so as to avoid agitating him. I'll just walk the same way back to leave that black cluster. Klein attracted his gaze and continued reading. Apart from the dream, the other things aren't that troublesome. As long as you don't attempt to approach those ruins, directly look at the thing that flies in the sky at midday, or challenge the storm that gives ample warning. Then it would be a problem. If you follow the safe sea routes that had been verified by others, as a mermaid, it just keeps crushing forward and you'll ultimately encounter them. This is because at their levels, they will only live in relatively safe areas. And there aren't many such areas. Finally, I hope everything goes smoothly. Sincerely, your friend, who might be often in deep sleep due to reaching a critical stage of his maturing development, Will Septon. I love how he says your friend. This infant is like, hey, that's my guy over there. But you know what? Here's the thing. Also, Klein has like a vast network of like really. Some people are really powerful. Some people aren't. I.e. fours. But like some people are really powerful, like Azek and like Will Septon. And he just kind of has access to all these people. The final sentence was long and somewhat awkward sounding, but Klein instantly understood what the snake of fate meant. Before I'm born, don't disturb me unless it's something extremely important and critical. I'll try my best, Klein replied inwardly without any reassurance. Absolutely ride him for a stray. I don't like Fords. I will slander her any chance I get. If he successfully advances, David, you're my lawyer. Why are you talking right now? You're supposed to agree with everything that I say and protect me from slanderous words. Don't know why you're back in the opposition right now. If he successfully advances, then I might not take long before I will seek Will Septon's help in finding the sequence for potion formula of the seer pathway. Being more confident with finding mermaids, Klein immediately left his dream, wore a hat, and headed for the pirates' dining hall. Due to the dream's disturbance, most of the food had turned cold, but the pirates still had a great time eating. After all, no one died. Since no one died during the mystical encounter, they naturally felt great that they had something to brag about. Do you want a cup of milk? Frankly held his plate and sat opposite Klein, asking warmly. Recalling the conversation in the dream, Klein firmly shook his head, and with a deadpan expression inwardly, he was very worried that the milk on the ship were all Frank's experimental products. Honestly, I feel like if there was anybody to, I feel like, here's the thing, you guys knock it, but frankly, I feel like he would fuck with the Omegaverse. Absolutely. He would get deep in it. He'd be like, this is amazing. He would find a way to bring the Omegaverse to the real world. Absolutely. He'd be one of the front-running scientists. Recalling a conversation in his dream, Klein firmly shook his head in a deadpan expression. Inwardly, he was very worried that the milk on the ship was all Frank Lee's experiment products. Frank didn't mind as he gulped a mouthful of milk. Yeah, he fucking did. I remember telling you about those little things in my dreams. Yes, Klein cut through the dragon bone fish that was cooked in sauce and he stuffed it into his mouth. I'll stuff something in my mouth. This kind of fish was well known for having few bones. Most of the time, it only had one main bone. In Backland, due to the most various species, they were considered a mid to high-end delicacy. But east of the Orvie Island, in the periphery of the safe sea routes, they could often be caught. Frank chuckled. My description back then was a little inaccurate. Their true purpose was to successfully produce milk even when they aren't in a state capable of lactation. Did you guys know that men can lactate? Like, you guys have, like, fun fact, did you know that if you were to stimulate a nipple enough, men can lactate? And a lot of men actually, like, can, because they have, like, milk in their milk ducts. Fun fact. You should try it at home. Just for the hell of it. My description back then was a little inaccurate. Their true purpose was to successfully produce milk even when they aren't in a state No, like, this is genuinely true. There's a guy that I grew up in high school with that couldn't lactate. I'm not even fucking kidding. It was crazy. Like, I'm not, like, it was really crazy. I don't know, that just, like, reminded me of it. Because I feel like Frank Lee would also have that ability. But yeah, I knew a guy in high school who could do it. My description back then was a little inaccurate. Their true purpose was to successfully produce milk even when there aren't in a capable state of lactation, regardless of whether they are male or female. As long as they consume it, they will produce milk and return to normal once they aren't fed. This way, the milk cows don't have to suffer any torture. This way, it becomes fairer for men. And women to bring up their children. It will be beneficial for women to head out for work. Dude, okay, frankly, progressive king also. I love him. Favorite character in the verse, frankly, absolutely. Wait, why are you telling me this? Klein nearly... I feel like that's what you guys think when I just start talking. You're like, why are you telling me this? Why are you talking? But you have to listen to me. Ha ha ha. Klein nearly failed to maintain his persona as Garamond Sparrow. At that instant, he felt that the nickname of Crazy shouldn't be Garamond Sparrow, but Frank Lee's. He actually someone who supports equality between men and women. However, his means are a little terrifying. facts. That's right, the Church of Earth Mother is like the Church of the Goddess. They believe that women should have the same standing in society as men. However, they place more emphasis on reproduction, treating it as the holiest matter. Among the 7 churches, the Church of Storms and the Church of Evernight, the Church of God of Combat are most biased towards men. The Church of Sun is next. Hold up. So the Church of Storms and the Church of God of Combat are the most biased towards men. Shocker. The Church of Sun is next. Disappointing. The Church of God of Knowledge and Wisdom. They're different from the other churches. They discriminate based on intelligence. Awesome. The Church of Steam is neutral and has even worked with the Church of the Goddess to encourage women to head out to work due to the need for more labor and development in industry. Klein instantly had the difference between the 7 churches flash past his mind. He looked up and glanced at Frankly as though what he had just said was something trivial. This made Frankly rather happy, as he couldn't help but drink a few more mouthfuls of milk. After the pirates finished their lunch in batches, Cattleya pushed open the windows of the captain's cabin once again using magic. She amplified her voice. There's an island 1.5 noctil miles ahead of us. We will dock there and wait for the storm to pass. No, excuse me. I think what's the one above? What's the highest you can be in a church, you know? Other than like God. Cuz that would be me in the Church of Wisdom and knowledge. In these waters, every time there's a switch from noon to nightmare. Yeah, I'd be the Pope of the Church of Wisdom and Knowledge. Pope. I think I just keep my name. Pope Dara the First. After a terrifying storm occurring, it cannot confirm when it will happen, but I believe it's safer for us to wait for it to pass before we continue our voyage. Like I said, I said this in the Discord the other day. I will, until I am proven that this isn't a sound method to do something, I will use pity and sympathy to get what I want. And you know what? People will fall for it every time. Yep. And that's why I run the rap mafia in New York City. And I'm the Pope. I'm the Pope and I run the rap mafia. And I pimp them out. Dropping so much lore. One of the things people at sea feared the most was the storm, therefore no one objected to it. There went according to Catleya's instructions. Under Navigator Autolov and Boatswain Nina's guidance, they nervously prepared to dock, and this made Klein confirm one of the matters that Will Septon had mentioned. Do not change any signs of the storm. Before long, the island covered... the gigantic trees appeared ahead of the future. The more than 100 meters long sailboat adjusted its course and docked against the wind. More than half an hour passed as the sky suddenly dimmed. Colored clouds surfaced one after another. They overlapped with one another and though they enveloped all the surrounding waters, amidst the loud boom and blinding flashes of lightning, a hurricane from afar swept over. It was connected to the clouds at the top of the sea. At the bottom, it was more exaggerated than any legendary giant. It was a gigantic coiling serpent in the bid to destroy the world. The terrifying hurricane brought with it waves that towered like mountains, lighting the branches out like trees, and didn't stop because of the incoming storm. I feel like I could pass for a teacher. Honestly, I should be a teacher. I'd be a great teacher. It consistently struck the surfaces of the sea, splitting into tiny electrical bolts that spread outwardly. As the rain patted down on the Future's deck, it made the pirates who had entered the cabin or gotten shelter feel like the apocalypse had arrived. Such a storm didn't last long, and the sea calmed down after about 15 minutes. And my lawyer didn't even come for my defense with that one. Such a storm didn't last too long. The sea calmed down after about 15 minutes. The hurricane dissipated midday. Sunlight rained in the sky once again. You can head onto the islands for a while, but don't wander inside. You have to be within range of the cannons. Catlia gave the pirates a brief chance of reprieve. Klein kept in mind Willesipin's warning and had no desire to explore the islands. After leaving the future, you only walked about the shore, talking the feelings of having his own feet on solid ground. Beach, sunlight, trees, it feels like a vacation. Klein thought in amusement when he suddenly noticed a rapidly moving black dot through the corner of his eye. It was rushed over from the boundary of the cliff. The black dot increased in size and revealed a human figure. Not far away, Catlia, who was on the sand, also noticed the abnormality. She half turned around and took off the heavy glasses on her nose bridge. The figure with emerald-colored eyes approached. He was wearing a white shirt and black vest and trousers. He was a medium build with his blonde hair split 70-30. Let me guess, it's Anderson. Anderson, the unlucky Anderson. Klein instantly recognized him. The person was none other than the terrifying Anderson in his dream world. It was the Anderson who said that his companions never returned after they proceeded to explore the hall, but had claimed to be a member of the exploration team. At that moment, Anderson raised his right hand. Without any hesitation, as Garen's Sparrow, Klein took out the charm and chanted a single word in ancient Hermes. Storm. The charm made the tin metal turn sharp and resemble a thin blade. With the infusion of spirituality, the wind in mid-air reverberated. With the deadpan expression, Klein threw out the charm in his hand at Anderson. Shwoo, shwoo, shwoo. Azure sharp blades shot in their targets like a lined-up firing squad. Anderson was raising his right hand high with a smile and was about to say something when he heard a deep and mysterious incantation and the scalp-numbing sound of wind. The gaze froze as he threw himself on the side of somersaulted multiple times in a pathetic manner, as if in areas before him was scorching metal. Shwoo, shwoo, shwoo. The wind blade struck the beach, slicing clear slits into the sand, but there was just short of hitting their target. Stop, stop! As Anderson nimbly somersaulted to dodge, he shouted, I come in peace, I mean no harm. Anderson Hood. Admiral Stars suddenly said his name, and she raised her hand to stop Garen's Sparrow, who had taken out a charm. She knows Anderson? Klein didn't rashly chant the charm's incantation, as he said in a deep voice. He has already mutated. I saw him in the dream. He wasn't surprised at meeting the unlucky Anderson. This was because the pirates were all the same area during the dream. They were all very close to one another, which also meant that Anderson, who wasn't too far away, was also very close to the future. No, not at all. Anderson stood up at a loss on whether to laugh or cry. He raised his hand like he was surrendering. I recognized you. You asked me many questions back then. I wanted to pull a prank on you. Really, it was just a joke to enliven the mood. Don't you think that having the mood suddenly change into one of horror is an exhilarating experience? Of course, I'm referring to the target and not myself. If I had participated in the explorations, how could I still be alive? That is what I'm worried about. Klein didn't believe his explanation. Anderson shrugged and said, I was preparing to explain that the moment that I saw you, that I was planning on telling you that I was joking and had planning to seek your help. I hope that you could take me away, but at a moment, the dream ended. I was really too unlucky. It doesn't comply with the traits of being unlucky, Klein silently muttered. He planned on flipping a coin right then and there to test him with divination, when he suddenly heard Admiral Stars Catlia say, listen to what he has to say. He's very famous in the Fog Sea. He has a nickname, Strongest Hunter. Just a little prank, dude. God. Garen's Sparrow really just needs to calm down. To be totally honest, take a fucking break. Take a pill. Mermaid clues. I'm behaving. I've barely done anything this stream. I've been behaving the whole time. I'm just reading, getting through it, because I want to get through it myself, you know? I can already tell the Wi-Fi is starting to be a little... So, I want to get through as much as I can before it glitches out. And then I have to wait till tomorrow. You know? Mermaid clues. Okay. Should I look at his artwork right now? I'm gonna look at it really quick. Just really quick. He's a little cutie. Oh my god. No, because here's the thing. Anderson's a little cutie. He's giving, he's giving Donut's vibes, but like not, like more cheeky Donut's vibes, you know? Klein does seem to have a thing for blondes. You know what it is? It's not Klein. Gehrman Sparrow has a thing for blondes. I'm gonna have to dye. I'm gonna have to bleach my hair. Next stream, I'm bleaching my hair. Heard it here first. Okay, chapter 652, Mermaid Clues. Strongest Hunter, Klein was shocked by the nickname after... No, I know. He doesn't want me because of my hair. We're gonna dye it. Should I go platinum blonde or should I go like golden blonde? I'm thinking, because I was once like Draco Malfoy, like platinum blonde. So we'll see. Either way, we're gonna bleach it. That meant that Anderson Hood's description of himself in the dream, well, it was real and reliable. He was more of a treasure hunter. Maybe I will become a baddie. I don't know. We'll see. I'll dye my hair white. Just like fully do it. Unfortunately, Gehrman Sparrow hasn't killed any pirate admirals. Otherwise, I would be the strongest hunter. Klein didn't let his guard down and coolly asked as the man. As long as Anderson Hood showed any signs of abnormality, he would immediately throw the charm in his hand. After all, the activation incantation was the same. At his sequence, he could do it simultaneously while injecting his spirituality. Upon hearing the Admiral Star's introduction, Anderson seriously shook his head. No, I'm not the strongest hunter. Oh, he's still rather humble, Klein sighed inwardly. Anderson chuckled and added, Admiral Stars, if you really insist that I'm the best, if you add the conditions below that of a demigod. Yes, I'm the strongest hunter below that of a demigod. I take it back what I just said. The corners of Klein's mouth twitched indiscernibly. I think I can give off baddie energy. I don't think I give off baddie energy in my little teacher's fit that I have on right now, but sometimes. Seeing no response from the Admiral Stars, Anderson naturally lowered his arms. These waters are very dangerous, but it contains many treasures. In this regard, I believe the two of you are very aware. In the past, many adventurers, or more precisely treasure hunters, have entered. I don't know why that word was so hard. Fucking idiot. These waters to seek out fortunate encounters, but most of them didn't leave their waters alive. I'm talking about most, so there are some lucky ones who can obtain items and ingredients while successfully leaving. The treasure hunting team is well in the organized by two treasure hunters who are experienced in the area. They claim to be very aware of which ruins are not to be explored in the first half of the safe route and which ruins could be attempted. They also claim to know which methods should be used to hunt various kinds of monsters, as well as what methods should be used to avoid evil creatures who have lost control. I've always been curious about these waters and was successfully convinced by them to join the expedition. And then Cattleya looked at the figure opposite her with black eyes and had a purple hue. Anderson sighed and said, it was very smooth in the beginning, so smooth as it can be. We avoided danger and obtained many of the relics left behind by the former explorers, and we also hunted some monsters and obtained several ingredients. Everything changed when we discovered the strange temple on the submerged island. There are many murals which remained intact. The gentleman has also seen it in the dream world. We used his chin to gesture at Klein. That's not important, Klein replied calmly. Anderson shook his head and smiled bitterly. One of the murals was very sinister and described pilgrimage proceeding forward amidst the sea parting. The leader of the pilgrimage was depicted as an angel, having long silver hair and reached his back. He had very mild facial features. I was the first to arrive in front of the mural. I reached out my hand and habitually outlined the various lines in the midair. It's true, I really didn't touch it. I was at least 5 centimeters away, but to my surprise, the angel in the mural suddenly opened its eyes. Your nickname as the strongest hunter must have been forced as a result of you attracting too many problems. Klein scoffed silently without any sense of pity. Silver-haired angel? Catlia asked and returned. Yes, but I'm not sure which angel it is. At the very least, he has appeared in any of the portraits of the 7 churches. Of course, the mural artist might have casually added it, and it might not be real. Anderson was just about to raise his hand to comb his hair when he discovered that the man wearing the round neck shirt and brown jacket, plantoons, and dark-colored cap was coldly staring at him. It appeared as though any abnormal actions would result in the man attacking without hesitation. But at that moment, Klein was thinking about something else. The fellow is very professional when it comes to art. At the very least, the typical person wouldn't be able to know if so many religious portraits. Catlia, who didn't receive an adequate answer, immediately turned her head towards Klein, her gaze filled with an inquisitive look. She had just heard from Anderson Hood that Gammon Sparrow had seen the murals. Perhaps this member of the organization that had been gifted by the Lord can recognize the angel. Catlia had an inexplicably feeling that Gammon Sparrow might really know the answer. Considering how Ma'am Hermit would be able to obtain the answer at the next tarot club, from a casual question, Klein didn't hesitate and simply said, Tail Devourer Ouroboros. Tail Devourer Ouroboros, the angel of fate, the king of angels? Catlia knowingly pursed her lips, and purple hue in her eyes turned slightly more obvious. The last time she had heard that name was from the Tarot Club thanks to Miss Justice, and that was her first time learning of the existence of the king of angels. She never expected to obtain clues of them in the real world in just a few months. Some might say, it's a coincidence. And it's just so coincidental that this happens when Klein's there. We'll see. And that was her first time learning of the existence of the King of Angels. Tail Devourer Ouroboros. I keep saying Ouroboros. Ouroboros. Anderson ruminated over the name in days. I know, I keep saying it wrong. Ouroboros. Anderson ruminated on the name in days. Klein didn't speak further, showing his disinterest in explaining it. Willow Septon? Or who? Oh. Not Willow Septon. That was really stupid of me. No. Ouroboros. Oh, no, stop. I didn't say it. I didn't say that. No. We're just gonna move on. Klein didn't speak further, showing his disinterest in explaining. Seeing how the Admiral Stars wasn't speaking a word, Anderson could only laugh and continue. I thought I was hallucinating back then because the mural didn't show any abnormality after that. Following that, our team... No, I'm well aware, guys. Don't worry. I know. I'm sorry. I'm well aware of what I said. Following that, our team fractured into 2. Most of them were frightened by the account and believed that they shouldn't continue exploring the temple. The remaining third desired to obtain more treasure and began setting deeper into the temple. They waited an entire day, noon switch, night, a total of 3 times, but we didn't manage to see them return. We were all outstanding treasure hunters, so we knew that something must have gone wrong. After making some confirmation, we didn't dare stay any longer or wait. We immediately left the temple and got into the ship to return the way we came. We'd already received plenty, and we didn't wish to take any more risks. Wait, none of you had the intention to save your companions? Yes, a treasure hunting team that is temporarily put together will always bother with themselves and the few friends that they are familiar with when they encounter danger. According to my experience, those companions of yours that vanish might be might be eating the fingers of corpses. Klein lampooned and didn't reprimand Anderson. Anderson sighed again and said, after leaving the temple, I discovered that there was something abnormal about myself. On the one hand, I became very unlucky with everything I do failing. Even when drinking light beer in silence, I'll realize that someone had used the beer barrel as a toilet and pissed in it. That's not what I encountered. It was my companion. On the other hand, we obtained the control of ourselves and our dreams. We were no longer in Revere and knew something, but we had no means to take action. Therefore, the number of my companions, the third of the original number of people, ventured deep into the dream world. They never returned. Catley, who had been listening in silence, asked, what about their bodies in the real world? They mutated into monsters, killing quite a number of my remaining companions and sailors. Anderson took an obvious deep breath. We might have successfully killed those monsters, but due to the lack of sailors, as well as the encountering a streak of bad luck, we failed to reach this island in time, before the storm arrived. Therefore, our ship sank. Likewise for our loot. The rest of my companions either drowned, got struck by lightning, or got eaten by underwater monsters. I didn't see all of it for myself. As for me, I'm relatively stronger and luckier than them. I was sent flying by the waves and successfully swam to shore of the island and began attempting to create a canoe to leave this area. As you can see, even my final axe has shattered. It was also reflected in the dream. Anderson's final sentence was directed at Klein. They really were a treasure hunting group, plagued with bad luck. Klein inwardly drew Crimson Moon from him. He believed that Anderson's description was likely real. His experience didn't seem to fabricate out of thin air. However, it was unknown if he was hiding something. Perhaps Anderson had really gone deep into the temple, eaten the finger of corpses before coming out, believing that he was fine. Perhaps he had already explored numerous places in the dream world and had been corrupted by some unknown creature in the unconscious manner. After Anderson Hood finished recounting his experience, he smiled at Catlia and the man who didn't know the name of. Do I have the honor of being a passenger on the future? I'll pay for it. Fair. He looked as if payment wasn't a problem at all. Catlia once again turned her head to the side towards Klein, as though asking if he would accept. This was to say that you are leaning towards accepting his request. Aren't you going to do any tests? I have to go above the great fog and divine before I can prove a clear answer. What gives you the confidence? Beyond our power obtained once a mystic prayer reaches sequence 5. Klein figured out a lot of information from Catlia's gaze. Just as he was hesitating, Anderson hurriedly said, I'm very familiar with the route ahead. I can help you avoid the latent dangers on the safe sea routes, and I can tell you which ruins aren't to be explored. I can also give you early notice to avoid the singing voices of the mermaids in time. Singing voices of the mermaids? Klein's eyes nearly lit up as he took a great deal of effort to maintain Gehrman Sparrow's image. Yes, a day's voyage from here, and I mean a day in terms of the outside world. We will circle around a ruin and turn. Upon saying that, Anderson suddenly realized something as he shut his mouth and smiled without saying anything more. Suspicious? No, you're not coming on the boat. Here's the thing. The second a character that I have the smallest bit of suspicion does some weird shit like stop mid-sentence and then look and smile, no, I'm killing you. Like, that's what that is. Like, you're dying. Or I'm tying you up and interrogating you. Any means necessary. But fuck no, are you coming on my ship? Klein thought for a moment and took out a gold coin in front of Anderson and silently chanted, Anderson Hood is problematic. He repeated 7 times and went through the standard divination process of divination, but he didn't hold any hopes for an answer. It was a test on Anderson. If Anderson really was problematic, he would definitely show signs of guilt. After all, he couldn't be certain of Gehrman Sparrow's divination standard and was unable to determine if he could dispute it successfully. Ding! The gold coin was flung into the air before landing in Klein's glance at it before putting it into his pocket. No problem. I'll later make a confirmation by going above the gray fog, Klein added inwardly. Cattleya looked at Anderson, nodded. I agree to your request. However, after we leave these waters, you'll need to hand over what you have. If there's nothing, I'll not take anything either. Anderson fell silent for a few seconds before smiling again. Deal. Having found a way out, he clearly relaxed as he smiled. Also, I have to warn you that although my bad luck is limited to me alone, you should be careful because I might attract monsters. Of course, I believe that with you, this gentleman, and myself, we should be able to guarantee our safety. And just as he said that, the entire island quaked. A smoky plume emanated from the primitive forest. Don't tell me monsters really coming. Anderson subconsciously turned to gape. Okay, here, but no. Frankly is not problematic. Frankly is a man of science. And sometimes men of science are misunderstood. That's just all it is. Anderson is sus. I have a theory because I don't trust this fucking kid at all. Not a single cell in my body trusts Anderson. I wouldn't trust him with my worst enemy. I think that Anderson is not actually Anderson, and it's something else that is shapeshift into Anderson and is now acting and pretending. Or has taken over his body. But it's not him. And they want Klein for something. Because here's the thing. We're going back into it where it's like, oh, this just so happens to go down 2 months after I figure out about it. Oh, this just so happens to go down when we're with Klein and we're with Cameron's Fair. And he just so happens to be the only survivor left. Everybody knows the lone survivor is the one that did it. Let's be real here. Interesting title. Chapter 653. Okay, so the ground trembled as a figure that was nearly 3 meters tall appeared at the boundary of the island's primitive forest. Its body was grayish-white in color. No, that's what I was saying. No, dude, I typed the first bit and I was like, okay. I'm actually a little bit scared. The body was grayish white in color, seemingly formed from boulders. The face was potholed without any obvious eyes, nose, mouth, or ears. Stone giant, Cattleya muttered the monster's type. Be it Klein or Anderson, both of them knew nothing about such monsters. However, because Anderson's not Anderson. Anderson is some fucking... and he's gonna kill them both in their sleep. Both of them knew nothing about... You know what? I put money down. Amon is Anderson. Putting money down. Both of them knew nothing about such monsters. However, they didn't cast an inquisitive look at Cattleya or focus on the monster, looking highly professional. Cattleya turned his body and faced the dark future. She raised her right hand halfway and amplified her voice. Aim. The pirates on duty immediately adjusted dozens of cannons on the port of the ship, aiming them right at the stone giant, which was lumbering over. Boom, boom, boom. The cannonballs flew on the island around the stone giant, sending dust flying, and the bombardment covered in huge areas. The ground clearly quaked in the flame surge. Splintering spewed everywhere as though everything could be destroyed. What am I reading? Oh, tap, tap, tap. The tall grayish white figure tore out the dust, having not suffered any serious damage. All that it had were a few cracks on the surface. Catley said without perturbing expression, "This isn't a kind of giant, but a kind of stone golem. Its core is the main ingredients of a Sequence 5 Guardian from the Guardian Sequence pathway." New pathway drop. Alert, new pathway drop. Therefore, its defense are extremely high. Amidst the reverberating canyon bombardment, Klein nearly suspected that it was a problem with his auditory senses. Since you know that the stone giant has high defense, why did he use cannon bombardment? Isn't that a waste of cannonballs? He thought in puzzlement as he lampooned. Klein just always lampooning. Behind hearing his inner thoughts, Katlia said as she watched the stone giant approach, "I've never encountered such a beyonder creature before, so I wish to do some tests." "I have nothing to say against such a reason." Klein was rendered speechless. At that moment, Anderson Hood, who had been observing the stone giant the entire time, raised his hand and said, "Do you have anyone who has beyonder powers in the ice and frost domain?" "Me," Katlia coldly answered. Seeing how Ma'am Hermit had the same means, Klein swallowed back the words he nearly said out loud. He really didn't wish to activate creeping hunger unless necessary, despite Zombie possessing the powers of ice and frost. He believed that he could find any suitable food on the island. Katlia took a grayish-black scroll from the secret pocket on her warlock robe and softly chanted a single word in ancient Hermes. Freezing. That's okay. Everyone's internet's dying left and right. Silently, the scroll was consumed by icy blue flames, and immediately there was crystalline streams of light and appeared in mid-air. They flew towards the stone giant and froze the target with an icicle hung from it. Amidst jarring, crackling sounds, the ice layer crackled in turn as the stone giant slowly walked out of the zone. However, its grayish-white exterior had turned a dark shade. Its motions were a lot stiffer than before. At this moment, Anderson raised his hands, though he was a conductor gesturing. Okay. Congesturing from the audience to give their applause. Orange and yellow flames, which were almost white in color, sprouted in the stone giant's feet, as though it had stepped onto the particular trap. Its surface rapidly produced the bout of stream as cracks spread across the body and formed deep fractures. Anderson pulled back his right arm, as a burning white spear condensed in his palm. The flames of the tip of the spear condensed into a point and emanated a blinding luster. The spear flew out, accurately hitting the crack in the stone giant's belly as the flame melted a huge hole in it. As for Anderson Hood, who was originally on the beach, he seemed to merge with the burning white spear. The flames brightened as he strangely appeared behind the stone giant. He held his left hand into the fist as his arm bulged with an uppercut. He struck upwards from the hole and onto the stone giant's heart. This simple-looking strike created an exaggerated effect. The stone giant immediately froze on the spot as cackling sounds constantly emanated from the interior. In seconds, it had crumbled into rubble. A critical strike. Klein's pupils contrasted. Catlius calmly stood on the spot and said without any surprise, "Sequence 5 of the Hunter pathway is Reaper. Furthermore, they are good at fighting the weakness of their prey." "Reaper? A Death Reaper? Of life? No wonder." Klein nodded slightly. At this moment, Anderson crouched down and rummaged through the stone giant's carcass. Then he turned his head and smiled refutately. "It's not a real monster." This meant that there weren't any spoils of war. While Anderson described the situation, the rubble vanished at a discernible pace. "For any unlucky fellow like you, don't be the one opening chests or looting corpses." Klein couldn't help but lampoon inwardly. Anderson returned and kept droning on. "The greatest problem of those waters is this: not every monster will provide you with riches. This is because conjectured monsters such as this aren't part of the more powerful monsters at a higher level. Of course, it's possible that they're the result of remnant powers and auras." Klein already had preliminary theories towards this. Having gone through the voyage, he discovered that there were beyond traces of Sun, Evernight Storm, and the Spectator Pathway. He had more fleshed out theories from his previous theories. He originally suspected that these waters were the remnants of battlefields of a war between Second Epoch ancient gods. Storm belonged to Elf King Sonorithum. Spectator belonged to the Dragon King Ankweld. Evernight belonged to the King of Demonic Wolf Flagrea, with the Little Sun providing him with the legendary records from the City of Silver with each gathering. Klein had gained a preliminary understanding of the authorities of the 8 ancient gods of the Second Epoch. Honestly, even I am. However, this constant midday and the sun's chariot formed a gold that had made Klein have doubts about his theory. This was because none of the 8 ancient gods grasped the sun pathway. Thank you. Soon Klein connected it to Amon and Adam's father. Because it's his daddy. It's his daddy. I love you, daddy. The City of Silver's creator, who was deemed as the ancient sun god. After the creator awakened, and after the series of intense battles, he had taken back the authorities of the ancient gods. Hence, these ruins of the battles between gods were left behind. The incomplete murals he saw at the Elven ruins suddenly surfaced in Klein's mind. Elf King Sirithim and the King of Silver's creator, who was also the ancient sun god, were at odds. As his thoughts wandered, Anderson had returned to his chuckling state. He looked at him and said, "How do I address you?" "Gehrman Sparrow." Klein simply gave his name. "Gehrman Sparrow." Anderson was first taken aback before recovering. "I've heard of you. You're the adventurer who nearly successfully hunted Vice Admiral Ailment. You have the title of the craziest hunter. Last month, when the ship I was on board passed by the Roasted Archipelago in Oravi Island, I had thoughts of getting to know you over drinks, but your whereabouts were unknown." "Last month, I was doing volunteer work at the hospital." Klein nodded and said, "You know me now," as also trying your best not to say anything. Anderson forced a smile. "I know my bad luck tends to make the negative words I say become reality. All right, stop looking at me. I won't speak again. Put down that charm of yours." Okay, here's the thing. I don't trust him. I don't trust him. However, that dynamic, that would make for some entertaining chapters. That dynamic right there, that would make for some entertaining chapters. Due to the appearance of the stone giant, the pirates, oh my god, crazy idea. Because here's the thing, that would make for such entertaining chapters, but that would also make the inevitable betrayal. No! Oh my god, just give it a minute. It might go back up. Okay, I think it's working again. Anyway, so that would, there was a bit of a like, I saw it like go down and then it like slowly and then it, I'm really scared, guys. No. Okay, I'm just gonna get this thought out really quick. Here's the thing, I don't trust him. I really don't trust him. However, that dynamic would be perfect and that would make the inevitable betrayal that much more gut-wrenching. So now I want them. I want them to like get close and get together. So that way when he like betrays him and reveals that it's surprise, motherfucker, I'm actually the fallen creator or the false god or the true creator, whatever you want to call him, Klein's like, whoa, my friend. Impressive. He easily got to know the situation of the ship. Klein shot a glance at Anderson, who was drinking with a few pirates in the shadows. Sorry. As he sighed inwardly, of course, the strongest hunter probably doesn't know that the alcohol he's drinking has a sedative of unknown origins. Klein held back his laughter as he thought mischievously. With Anderson's help, the future circled around 2 hidden maelstroms and a floating palace ruins as it continued down the safe sea route. About 3 hours later, night fell again. Klein rapidly found his lucidity and reason in his dream as he opened his eyes and looked around. His vision was swath of pitch blackness with nothing to be seen. Don't tell me I'm blind. Such a thought instinctively appeared in Klein's mind. Then he reached his right palm into his pocket, took out the matchstick, It was composed of every magician. This was the component that every magician needed for his spells. With familiarity, he took out the matchsticks and ignited it. Immediately, a weak flame appeared in front of Klein. Klein's eyes. The flame struggled as it boomed silently, illuminating his surroundings. Thank you. It's gonna lag. Be prepared. There we go. Okay. Did it work? I was like, I fucking knew that shit was gonna lag so hard. I'll just wait till someone says that it's working. That was so bad. Okay, perfect. As long as the leg's done, we're good to go. That's all I need. I don't know how many chapters we'll get through, but I'm reading for like another hour and a half. So probably like 3 or 4 more chapters if I can stay not distracted. We'll see. You might want to send them now. But here's the thing, though, I can see the Wi-Fi starting to get really fucky, so we're gonna see how much longer this is gonna last, to be totally honest with you. Okay, I randomly placed a particular area. As his thoughts raced, Klein flicked his wrist and extinguished the matchstick that nearly burnt his fingers. A resplendent layer of sunlight bloomed on his left hand, his eyes, 2 matured suns. The soul of the priest of light, he obtained night vision from this holiness. As he observed his surroundings, Klein saw the ceiling. The cell he was in wasn't too cramped. Oh, he's in a fucking cell. But the floor was dirty and messy. There was many footprints, a mystery as to what previously happened. Most of them were human footprints. A few of them were rather exaggerated, likely belonging to giants. The single bed is broken in the corner with the key beside the door. Someone succeeded in a jailbreak. Klein came before and unlocked the metal gate, carefully looked out the side. The prison was filled with darkness. The darkness enveloped the stone corridor, and across from him was the cold but solid wall. The path extended curiously both sides, and though there was more of a prison cell. Klein attracted his gaze, packed up the key on the ground, and looked at the gates. He didn't attempt to head out, only continued staying in his cell. He clearly remembered that Will accepted and advised him not to explore the dream world. Therefore, he planned on awaiting their arrival at noon. So, what if this is a prison cell? It's not like I'm leaving. Klein huddled in the corner, sitting on the half-single bed, seemingly blending with the rich darkness around him. In the extreme silence, Klein suddenly cocked his head, since he vaguely heard light footsteps. The sound of footsteps came from afar in an ethereal manner, and its slow frequency was it as it approached him. Chapter 654, Prisoner and Guard. Awesome. No way, I haven't gotten anywhere. Has the far-reaching hands of trouble come on its own? Klein revealed a grimness that didn't match Gammon Sparrow's persona. He nearly drew a grass. The only thing stopping him from doing that was because it would cause quite a stir, making trouble discovering his hiding spots. No, did it lag? Oh. Is it back? It does not look good. I'm gonna be super honest. I think that might be GG's, guys. I'm not even kidding. Dude, this is... Is it back? Oh, dude, it's so fucking bad. It's so fucking bad. I'm literally letting it sit. She might be gone. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, so yeah, so thanks so much for coming, guys.
Is it the matcha, or am I this energized from scoring 3 Sephora?